Hey, Juhl Jaxen here. And today I was wondering if you were aware of your focus, your attention. Where is it going? What are you focused on mainly? What do you think about all the time? Where is that in your life? What is that? Because what I know is that what we focus on, we get more of. So if we're focusing on the world's going to hell in a handbasket, we're going to see more of that. It will just keep coming at us. So, I mean, I'm not saying don't pay attention to what's going on. Don't get me wrong, but it's where are we placing our focus and our attention? Where's most of our thoughts? Where is our energy going? So this is about taking care of ourselves, but having the awareness of what we're doing and why we're doing it, how we're doing it. So I want to share a story with you. And this goes back to 6 years ago when 2020 happened. And, it was a crazy time. We didn't know what was happening. It was very chaotic. However, this is a true story of myself, of being in that situation and not knowing, what was going on. But I remember, being scared at first and like, oh my gosh, what's happening? But then I switched into, okay, if this is what is happening, how can I make the best of it? And I remember switching my focus and attention from the fear-based stories of the news to I'm going to get out and go on the lake as much as possible. So I was kayaking, paddleboarding like 4 or 5 times a week. And I began to put my focus and attention into nature and being on the water and relaxing. And I remember saying, this is unprecedented. Like, when will we ever have time where we don't have to go to work because there's no work to go to, and we are just free to do whatever we want? You know what I mean? To a certain extent, not everything, because we couldn't be around people. But I remember being in this place of complete joy and peace and being out in nature. And then from that, I took it into my house, into where I was living. And at the time I was renting a house, and I was the first renter of that. This woman had her children in the house, grew up in the house. She raised her children there and then moved on and decided to rent the house. So I was her very first renter. So she was a little, apprehensive about having somebody come in and like commandeer her house. But she had a hot tub there, and it was wrapped up, and I wasn't able to use it when I signed the lease. That was off the table. And then when COVID hit, I was like, man, this would be awesome. This would be great. And I started being in this space of calling out, like, I am so abundant. I have so much abundance in my life. I remember just saying it out loud and declaring it and being joyful about it. And I started living in this space of, I am so abundant. Even though it was during a time where we weren't working and there was no money coming in and COVID was happening, all that stuff. But I remember reciting it and saying out loud and believing it. I'm just like, I'm so abundant. And what happened is she's like, you can use the hot tub. and I said, I'll pay for everything. I'll maintain it, all the things. And that hot tub, to me, symbolized this freedom and this abundance. But I feel like I truly put my energy and what I was focusing on in I'm abundant. And once I started doing that, all these other things started coming into my life. That it was clear that once I started focusing on my abundance and believing it and saying it and being in that energy, that's where I was putting my focus. Then more of it started coming and flowing into my life. So for me, when I look back at 2020, I'm like, that was an amazing, that year specifically was magical. It was just profound. But I feel that I moved my course, my attention and awareness. So I was driving down that road instead of the road of fear and despair, and I don't have money, and how am I going to work, and whatever, all of that I shifted it over. So my point in sharing this story with you is that what we focus on, we get more of. Where we put our attention, the universe will keep bringing it to us. So get clear on what are you focusing on. Are you focusing on what's not working, or lack, or I don't have, or this isn't right? Or are you focusing on, I got this. This is beautiful. I have abundance. New opportunities are coming. I meet amazing people every day, right? The key here is practice. You've got to practice retraining your thoughts and where you're putting your attention, and things will begin to shift. And just trust me, it's a powerful and profound practice and tool. So start by paying attention to your thoughts, and you get to choose what you think and what you believe in and what you are going to choose from day to day. So start to navigate, find new pathways, because that's what we're really making new pathways in our brain, towards things that you want, not what you don't want. What do you want? What do you want? Answer that question and then start focusing on it. Boom. Have fun with this.